Yeah, hey, drop.
Prime Coverage Sports Network. Real coverage, real conversation.
All right, welcome to the Primetime College Hoops podcast, part of the Prime Coverage Sports Network. My name is Jim Weglars, a.k.a. Wegs. You can follow me at Wegspool on X on Instagram. Cassanova, where can we follow you, sir?
You can follow me everywhere, man, all over PC. And follow me on Facebook at Kenny Cassanova, man. Catch me everywhere, man. I'm ready.
He is everywhere. He's the face of the network now. Conman, where can we follow you, sir?
You can follow me on the Sports Wade Network, Sports Corner with the Con Man. You know, you can find me, the Con Man, a.k.a. the Oracle. You can check me out. Thanks to Kenny. You know what I mean? But you can find me Friday evening, 6 p.m. on Sports Wade Network, Sports Corner with the Con Man.
That's awesome. We'll follow the network as well. Don't forget the network. That's why we're here. PCSN Media and Facebook, Prime Coverage Sport Network, and on Instagram. So, fellas, we got a lot going on. There is so much going on. We got the biggest weekend of college basketball, which is exciting. Hopefully, you got to catch the action. We won't talk about every game, but if you want to, we could. Everybody, we were getting fired up in the pre-show, just kind of getting going, getting lathered up. The Conman's got going to hit us with some knowledge. I can't wait. But let's talk about a couple games before we get into the specifics of the weekend. So, first of all, I was on the air with you guys, and I did my other show. And I look, and then Boilers were in this game with Texas. I mean, this game was like nip and tuck. I mean, just back and forth, great game. And it came down to one fingertip by TKR at the buzzer. And it was one of those things. I thought that game was going over for sure. And obviously, Purdue advanced 79-77. And, Texas did cover the number, did go over. But what an incredible game to start off the Sweet 16. Tell me your thoughts, Kenny, on that one.
Man, look, I picked Texas, and it was for a reason, man. I picked them for a reason. I was like, Texas, it was a tough team. They stuck with it, and I liked how they were shooting. They were shooting the ball very well during this game. They shot the ball very well. But Purdue, that point guard, man.
He's tough.
That point guard Smith, man, he was a man on a mission. He would not let them lose. I knew in that situation, I said, something's going to happen to where he's involved on this last play. I said either he's going to get it up on the rim because for some reason, I don't know why the coach for Texas, I know his name. Sean Miller. Mm-hmm. I don't know why he took out his center in that situation. The only way they can beat you outside of making the shot is a putback. Yes. The one thing that you couldn't do, and he did it. And, man, I mean, hey, shots out to Purdue for getting a big win, but, man. Hey, y'all see why I picked Texas. They did not look like they were out of their league, and they didn't look like an 11 seed.
No, absolutely not. They committed themselves well.
Yes.
Oracle, we talked about it last week. I think you like did you like Purdue or you like Texas? I can't remember last week.
I picked Purdue.
Yeah.
As the Oracle says, point guard play is very crucial during March Madness. And if you look how important the guys have played, what a big role they played. We can talk about we can go in, but the point guard play is very crucial. And that was a true testament about how important point guard play is. But it was a great game. Like you said, one tip in, changed the whole philosophy of the game. But anyway, it was a great start to March Madness. And what a way to kick it off.
That's right. Other game we had that was tightly contested was Iowa against Nebraska. I mean, Nebraska hadn't been to the Sweet 16 ever in their history, and they did pretty well. They're up at halftime, but Iowa had that guy, Bennett Sturtz. You talk about point guards. This guy can score. He scored 20 points in this game. They really shut him down in the second half. That was the big thing. He scored 25 points for Nebraska in the second half. Iowa wins 77-71. Cover the number. It does go over that kind of low total. So, Conman, same thing. Just better guard one in this one, huh?
Like I said, it's so crucial. As I stated before, the Oracle says guard play and foul shooting.
Yes.
Think about it. I'm letting you know. I told you that the Oracle did state that. Yeah. So again, it was a great game. But that Smith guy, is he a hell of a player or what? I mean, that I've been disappointed because some of the guys that were, I guess, expected to play extremely well didn't. Not in that particular game, but if you all know what I'm talking about, you know what I mean? So, but it was good to see a great game. Again, what a great start to March Madness, and it's only just begun.
That's right. Kenny, what do you think about the Hawkeyes? They showed you something. Huh?
They showed me something for sure, because I definitely had Nebraska going into the game because the first two.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah, the first two were so closely contested games, man, and they, I'm like, okay, the third matchup, somebody got to win it. And like the Oracle said, man, guard play. Guard play. And Bennett Stitz, he proved that theory to be correct again. I mean, what a performance by him, man. What a performance all tournament for him, though.
Yes.
He had a great tournament, man. And shout out to Iowa, man. They really showed the Big Ten is probably was the best conference all year, probably. If we're really looking at it. They've probably been the best all year. Yeah. So shout out to Iowa.
Then we got the Dukies. This is in the Sweet 16. They played the Johnnies. I know we all wanted St. John's to win. We all were on Team St. John's, even though I thought Duke would still win the game. This was an interesting game. I mean, St. John's was out early on them. Duke kind of fought back. And this is a game where Caleb Foster, I didn't think he was going to play. And we were on the show, I think he said he wasn't going to play. He ends up playing in this game. He gets a critical 11 points in this one to kind of push him over the top. In the end, St. John's, they struggle to score late down the stretch, but they do cover the spread. You guys don't care about that, but I do because I won that bet. Duke wins 80-75, and it was an over. I was surprised it was an over because both teams are good defense. So, Kenny, what happened to St. John's in this game? Why couldn't they get over the top on Duke?
Yeah, listen, you said it, Caleb Foster. I mean, I didn't think he was going to play, so I said, man, without another guard, man, I'm not going to lie, I would have been real worried about them. And if you look at the beginning of the game, it looked like it didn't matter. It looked like it didn't matter because St. John's was on them. Every time you felt like Duke was getting a little bit of momentum, St. John said no defense. No defense. We're turning it into defense. Right. And they kept on doing that. I knew it was going to be tough once they got out of the 70s. Once I seen the game was headed towards 70 plus, I said, oh, man, this is Duke's game. I definitely felt that way watching it. But I think the one of the most important things that happened in this game was that you watched Boozer fight through because he struggled early. If you watch the game, he struggled early. All of a sudden, he fought through. He kept fighting, and eventually, he's like, I'm here now. I'm going to make some big buckets down the stretch. He made a couple big buckets down the stretch, and he just showing his mettle. He showed that, you know what, I can fight through the adversity and the tough times, and they came out on top, man, and they told me to shut up. At least for this game. I'm not going to say nothing else.
So, Con-Man, you said it last week, and Kenny alluded to it. Getting off the bus, they were pressing Duke, and they were all over Duke in that first half. I was watching the game. I'm like, well, it's kind of like what we thought. But what changed? I mean, was it just Foster making buckets, or did they change kind of how they played the game to kind of handle that pressure in the second half?
Some ways that you're getting to where I was going to go. I think St. John's prepared to play them without Foster. Okay. I think the game plan was he's not playing. The man was in a boot, a walk-in boot. And I think that it kind of affected when he came. He kind of, not as important, but he kind of remembers. I remember like when Willis Reed came out, could barely walk, and what a spot that was to the next step. You remember that? And he did it against my boy Will Chamberlain, but that's another story. But anyway, I think that was number one. Number two, I think the fact that, Foster had him settled down. I think he played a great floor game. And again, I think St. John's wasn't prepared for him and I think their game plan had to change. And I don't think they were able, because the biggest thing in all sports is how do you adjust? What adjustments do you make? And I think St. John's didn't make the proper adjustments. What I think, in every damn locker room at halftime, adjustments. A lot of coaches don't like to do adjustments, but that can be so crucial and can determine the outcome of a game. And I don't think St. John's prepared. I don't think they made the proper adjustments.
Right. I think they, like Kenny said, they kind of got lulled into Duke's game. Like they started playing their game early. Duke kind of figured it out. Then they played Duke's game. They couldn't get it back to their game, or they couldn't do that counter punch to get them back. They were hanging right there. They're right in the game. But if you're trying to trade buckets with Duke, you're in the wrong business.
You know something too, and Boozer's brother played pretty well too, by the way.
Yeah, he did.
But you know what I mean about Boozer? If you notice, he's not a first half player. He plays better in the second half where it counts. And as Kenny stipulated, my man just kept. I mean, he plays like he's a veteran. You know what I mean? He don't he had a bad half, he don't let that get to him. He still grinds and look at the result. You know what I mean?
I can't believe that dude's 18. I can't believe he's 18. He doesn't.
He plays like his father, but has a little bit more agility, and he can hit the perimeter shot. Boozer was all beast. His father was a beast, but he can play the perimeter. He can take it down the post. He can do things his father couldn't. I think that's because of his father. But anyway, that's a whole other story.
There you go.
Shout out to Coach Snyder too. Before we get off that topic, I want to shout him out because he did it just again, like he did against Michigan.
Yes,
I want to point that out because I think that's very important. He did a great job at adjusting the St. John's pressure.
Yes, he did. Yes,
he sped up that tempo against St. John's. I noticed that. I'm like, there's the adjustment. Because we all talking about like, what can Coach Snyder do? And that adjustment was switching up that tempo so that they can't get set in their defense. I catch.
There you go, Kenny. You're absolutely correct.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, y'all. I'm excited.
Well, then the next game was in the Sweet 16. We had UConn playing Spartans, and look, great game. The whole game was a great game, just back and forth. I thought what was interesting, there were only two teams in the Sweet 16 that won their games that were out rebounded, and one of them was UConn. UConn got out rebounded 39-30 in this one, but they were able to make 9 3-point shots to Michigan State's 4, and that was basically the difference in the game. It was final score 67-63. By the way, UConn covered, much to my chagrin, but it did stay under the number. But it was because they could make a couple big shots. I mean, Caravan had that big 3. Now, Fears did answer it, but down the stretch, it was like Spartans couldn't quite get an open look. And I actually was expecting Fears to take over. And I don't know if he was sick or what. He didn't play very well in this game to me, besides hitting that 3. And then they were able to stretch that enough to get the win 67-63. UConn marches on like you guys predicted. So, Con Man, what did you see with Fears? Because, he's a good point guard. And what did you think that UConn did, in this game?
Well, if you guys recall last week, I had Michigan State. I bragged about Fears. I think you guys remember, I talked about him up and down. You know what I mean? And again, that was one of the guys I was talking about. That I expected way more from him than what he actually ended up doing. And again, like that, I think that sometimes that shows how much heart and how much grit you have. I just didn't think, like, I don't know if he was sick. We don't know, but I just didn't see him play with the enthusiasm that he's done in the past. I was predicting that he was going to be the key again, guy play, and he just didn't come through like I expected him to. I really. For some reason, I'm not a UConn fan, as you guys can tell. But anyway, I definitely thought that I expected Fears to play a little bit better. I think if he played the way he's capable of, we wouldn't be talking about UConn right now.
I agree with you. There was a stretch there. They made their push. They had a chance to take the lead on 2 or 3 possessions in a row. He missed a short bunny. They had like 3 guys miss short shots. It was like the only guy who was balling was Cooper, the big man. Dude, he had a couple big dunks and playing hard. I wasn't sure. Maybe they were tired. It was weird. This is only the first game of the weekend, but they didn't play with the same kind of energy that I usually do.
Exactly.
But I think it's Fears, because if he plays harder, they play harder. So, Kenny, congratulations. You got this one right. So tell us, you picked UConn, I believe. So
yes.
wrong about comment. But what did you think of this game?
Look, he's all saying,
Yeah. This is one of my picks right here, UConn. But the reason why I think Michigan State Fears specifically struggled was sometimes, when you're so talented and you got so many tools that you can do, sometimes as a freshman you don't know how to disperse and the time to take over is. Sometimes he's such an excellent passer. He's such an excellent setup guy that he forgot. No, this not the game for that. They need you to go into that mode. They need you to put up 39 like you did in the regular season. They need that fierce. And sometimes like I said, when you have all those tools, you don't know when to disperse which one and which game it is sometimes. This comes from game experience. That just comes from being in the game. He'll understand, because he's gonna have a long career. So he'll understand.
I will say, Kenny, he's not a freshman, just FYI. He's a junior.
Hey, why do I keep thinking that he's a freshman?
No,
he's a junior.
He's a junior. I get these freshmen mixed up. Yeah.
Oh, good.
So I feel like this. I feel like with him, he has, like I said, he has so many tools that he should have dispersed the score. He needed the scoring ability this one. Because the game
freshman, I would give him a pass. But as he's a junior.
Yeah,
he's playing for Izzo. You understand? Izzo.
Oh yeah.
And we all know Izzo's had some great guys over the course of his career. I'm just trying to tell you, he's been there, done that. And I think he put that label on Fierce. He was going to come up like the previous guys have done for Michigan State. We don't have to go back. A couple of guys that were all right. But anyway, you know what I mean? But I think he put that pressure on him. And some guys just are not able to handle it.
Yeah. That's what that game it came down to because, you know what I'm saying? He's a junior. It changes my whole take because then you're supposed to know. You've been in enough games at this point to know that, hey, this game causes for you to score. The pass thing, you'll make natural passes just because you're naturally talented. But this game needed him to score because there wasn't a lot of points put up. So you think about it, if Fields put up 30, they're going to win the game.
It's like the game's like 50-50. He's like kicking it out. I'm like, drive to the cup. You can kick out.
Yeah.
Maybe it might have been the UConn's defense. So that's the only thing I can say. Maybe it's the defense. But
because they were cheating on him.
I just feel like he wasn't aggressive enough off the dribble like he's been in games. You've seen him take over. Like he beat Illinois. He could do it. Well, one of the surprises to me, I believe Kenny did pick this, or at least he talked about it, because I was doing the Cyclone dance, but I got smashed in this one. Tennessee beat the Cyclones badly. Now, granted, Joshua Jefferson didn't even play, which really hurts. I'm like, what is going on? Now, I understand if his ankle, he can't play. I should have known when the line went from like 4.5 to 2.5 because it closed to 2.5 favorite. But they just, the thing about this game, it wasn't, scoring was difficult for Iowa State. They got destroyed on the glass, boys. 43-22, almost got doubled up on the glass. Vols was getting every kind of offensive rebound they wanted, and this game really didn't get close. They were at about 12-15, and then they missed 8 of 10 free throws. I was sick to my stomach watching this game because it was like every time they got to the line, they're down. It's 9 minutes. They're down by 12. Dude misses 2 free throws. I'm like, are you serious? They could have had this game down to 4 points, but they end up losing pretty easily, 76-62. So Tennessee, Rick Barnes, man, this is his 3rd straight Elite 8 that he made. This guy can coach. Kenny, why'd you pick it? Why'd you have this feeling? You were the oracle on this one.
Yeah, because I felt like this. I felt like without that guy, without Jefferson,
right
now. But then I thought about how good Tennessee has been playing just of recent. And I'm like, these guys, they're going into this game with a lot of momentum. They done won a game they weren't supposed to win the last game. And then this game they weren't supposed to win. Even without nobody was really looking at them like, they can beat Iowa State. But then they dominated them. They didn't just beat them. This was a domination. And they dominated them on the boards. That shows I wanted more. That shows I'm not laxed. I want this game. And they really showed Iowa State that, hey, I don't care that you're the higher seed. We're gonna beat you like we're the higher seed. And that's what the Vols did, man. I was thoroughly impressed. I thought they were gonna win. I didn't think they were gonna dominate. This was domination.
Right, it was. Oracle, what happened in this game for you?
You know what? I told you guys last week. I remember Rick Bonds when he coached at Providence College. Kenny, I don't know if you were even born then. But anyway, it was that long time ago. But anyway, that guy is a proven winner. Bonds, and you know what? He goes kind of unnoticed. He's under the radar for some reason. I don't know what. The man, and he's had a phenomenal career. And again, a lot of times coaching matters. And I just think that he prepared them, even though Jefferson didn't play, I think that he prepared them correctly because he's been there, done that. And that makes a world of difference because I know he let his team know what to expect. You know what I mean? Because obviously everyone's, stressed out, pumped up, excited. I think he has a way to calm his team down. When you practice everything, the game comes easy. It's when things happen, you don't adjust. And of course, Rick Bonds is great at making adjustments. And Tennessee, they're a damn good team. And watch out, they're going to get some good recruits too, by the way.
Yeah. Now, I conveniently left off the game we all did not pick correctly in Houston against Illinois. That was an ugly game. I left it off. Very low scoring. Houston did not come to play like I thought they would, as you guys did too. So we'll leave that one off and jump to the Elite Eight matchups. And we obviously didn't talk about Acuff and those guys. They just were no match for Arizona. Let's talk about Arizona, though. They played Purdue in the Elite Eight matchup. And this was, Arizona just destroyed Acuff and the boys. It wasn't close. They scored over 100 points. They just were just crushing them. And so then they go into this game. And I'm thinking Purdue is good. But, they got lucky on a tip-in. Arizona's going to crush this team. Not true. Braden Smith, you guys, the point guard for Purdue, played very well in the first half. He scored like 12 points in the first half, 3 assists. They were up 38-31, and they seemed to have the Wildcat figured out. You know what I mean? But we'll talk about adjustments. I didn't think Tommy Lloyd had it in him, but he flipped the switch in that squad, and they held the Boilers to 26 points in the second half, and they won by 15, 79-64, covering the number. They just kind of flipped the switch. So, man, what did you see in this game? Why was Arizona able to just basically completely turn the tables? And it didn't take long. It was in the first 7 minutes of the second half.
You know what? I'm going to break it down real simple. Arizona had 4 possible NBA picks. Yeah, they played like the NBA. They got NBA-ready players, and they were experienced, and I just love watching them play. They're big, they're strong, they have very few weaknesses. And obviously it showed that game. They're gonna be a team to be reckoned with. I just like the way they play. I like their grit. And like I said, they got 4 players NBA ready. I'm letting you all know. That's why. Right then and there.
There you go, NBA.
Yeah.
Cassanova, what do we see in this game? Why were they able to kind of just turn it up a notch? Just talent?
Man, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. Guards. They got guards on guards. I mean, if you look at the team, man, they're full of guards. And then Pete, he came to play. He was a man out there. Because in the first half, I was like, all right, now I'm gonna need to see what everybody else see because I've been waiting for this game from him, just him specifically. I see glimpses, but I'm like, in this game, this is a big game because these some big boys at Purdue. And man, he came in that second half, put it in the paint. That's what this was. He started taking. Now he took over the boards because in the first half, Purdue was getting all the boards. Man, they were. I was like, I said, Arizona. I said, are y'all sleeping? I said, I hope y'all not sleeping. And then that second half, they said, shut up and sit back and watch the show. And I just sat back and I watched them show, man. Them guards, man. Guards and Pete, man.
Took over. Yeah, it was interesting. So besides, and we're not going to talk about the Michigan, they destroyed the Vols. It wasn't close. They looked really dominant. We'll talk about them in the next kind of segment. But 3 of the 4 games, the team that was losing at halftime won the game, right? This was one of them. Obviously, we talked about that. So We'll talk about the big one. We got to talk about the big one. So, Duke, UConn, Duke was a pretty heavy favorite, 4.5 points. They were dominating UConn. They were up by 19 points with about 6 minutes left in the first half. They closed the half. They were up 15. And then I'm not exactly sure what happened. To be honest with you, I was on a plane. I landed on the tarmac. I'm at O'Hare. When are we getting to this gate? I look at the score. Oh, the game's over. Then I catch it again. I'm like, oh my, they're coming back. And so I got to watch on the runway, like just watching the whole game from my phone. And 134-0. That was one seeds when they were up by 15 at halftime in this tournament. We're 134-0 before this game. I don't want to go first. Kenny, you want to go first? What the hell happened in this game? How did they turn this around to not just, they obviously, we'll talk about the shot in a minute, but they had to get to the point where they could get to the shot, right? Yeah. They were down big. So what did they do different in the second half that they weren't doing in the first 15 minutes of this game?
So I'm going to tell you what they did. Adjustments. And you watch Dan Hurley, his specialty, get them boys riled up and ready to go. Make them believe. Because I've seen a bunch of belief. I seen so much belief out there. And that was the key. Man, it's like, we're down 15. We don't even we should be playing on this court with them.
Right.
Early, he was some cussing involved. There was some
believe there was some cussing.
He grabbed some of his best players and said, hey, I need y'all to show up. And them guys, they kept chipping away. Duke kept on trying to push it back up. Nah, UConn said, no, we coming back. And then, man, I'm not going to lie to you. I watched this team turn up the pressure on defense. Because if you watch in the first half, Duke got whatever they wanted. Whatever Boozer wanted, he got it. Points. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. And then you watch in the second half, they held them to what? 28, what's that?
28 points.
Yeah. And they locked up. They just locked up on defense. And you watched these guys soar, man. And I was happy for them because they really deserved to win this game, man. Because the way they played in that second half. I was happy the way they played because they just stuck with it. It wasn't perfect. It don't have to be perfect in the tournament. You just need a win. Like Al Davis said, win, baby, just win. And literally, that's exactly what happened at the end, man. And you literally watched poetic justice happen to me. This was poetic justice because I feel like Duke been playing with their food all tournament. And when you play a little too much, you get bit. And that's what happened to Duke because they've been playing. You're supposed to be number one overall seed, and they haven't played like it all tournament.
Right. And they lost 3 games this year, right? And they had double-digit leads in every single one of those games. Remember, North Carolina didn't lead the whole game, and they hit the bucket at the end to win. So, Con-Man, I'll ask you a 2-part question. I want you to get your general thoughts. But what happened? Why did Caleb Foster, why was he so ineffective in this game? So he was effective against St. John's maybe because they didn't know. In this game, he had 0 points. He was like a no factor. He got in there and dribbled off his foot. What happened in this game for him?
Okay. You know what? To be honest with you, if I was that your first question was, the fact is he did something that was unbelievable to be able to play the game prior to that. And, coming up with a boot. And he left that game with a walking boot. So I think that playing made a major effect on his foot. I don't think he was as effective. I think he was in a lot of pain. And he did resolve the game previous, and I just didn't think he had it. Now, getting back to UConn, here we go. As Kenny so correctly stated, Hurley, I think he said a few choice words at halftime. I will not repeat what I think he said, but anyway, I think he lit a spot and a fire. And I bet you he hit his head on the wall, the chalk. I know how he is. He's nuts. I think he got his team riled up. And 2 words I'm going to use. You guys didn't bring it up. Maybe you might. Clock management. What I mean by that is he said, we're not going to get this all at once. We're going to break it down little by little. And then as Kenny said, applying defensive pressure. We're going to do what I say. We're not going to get all at once. Clock management. I think that was a primary key for them to come back. And with the intensity. And I think, they busted They bust their behind for Hurley. They really do. He gets them all lined up, and they believe in him. You know what I mean? He believes in them. And I think that halftime, let's put it, conversation really got to them, and I think that proved very effective. And again, clock management.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. They broke down the game. They took it in pieces. You can't get 19 or 15 points in one play, right? You got to take it in pieces.
You can't do that. You get in foul trouble, you stupid. Clock management. You got 20 minutes. Clock management.
Before we get to the last sequence, because we got to talk about that. One of the things I wanted to note, besides holding the 28 points, they had shot 1 for 18 from 3.
Yes.
The last 7 minutes of this game, and then they make 4 of 5. So obviously that's a mentality, shooter's mentality, keep shooting. But they probably just said, "Hey, let's go to the rack," because they started getting to the line, which is always like, when you're down. If you're young coaches out there, I'm sure you're all listening. Go to the line. If you are down by double digits, get your team to the foul line. The clock stops. You can hit some free throws, and they got in the game. But man, 4 of 5. I mean, obviously, Caravan hit another one from like deep. That was just a dagger that got them within a couple of points. Solo Ball was doing stuff. I mean, he hasn't done much all tournament. He was finishing and getting and ones, and like you said, they played great defense. And obviously, they gave Cam Boozer a black eye. I don't know if you saw that, but get that big swollen eye.
And something funny? If you know the father, when they beat St. John's, he was yelling, "Bye bye, bye bye." Yeah, and guess what? Karma is a what. But I'm going to ask you guys a question before we go any further. And I don't know how much of an impact you guys probably say it's just excuses. Do you know they changed the ball?
Changed the ball?
They had a different ball.
When? During the game? Or?
You check it out. Well, you'll find out that was a major, after the game, it was a major issue about the ball. And you know who stated that? Mr. Hurley. Because he was talking about all the people that, not just that game, during the March Madness, look how many threes were missed. Look how many, and I'm just like, I'm not making no damn excuses because everybody gonna shoot with the same ball anyway. But I'm just saying, I wonder if that might have been a factor as to why teams were shooting so poorly. It wasn't just them. If you look through the March Madness and look at the percentages, that's what came up. I'm not gonna. Both teams had to shoot with the same damn ball, so I don't know, but I just don't know. Why would they do that? Why would they do that?
Yeah, that's sure they had a deal. They had a deal with Spalding.
It probably could have been not broken. I don't know all the details, but it could. People get used to the. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's food for thought. I don't know. Probably had no.
Before we talk about the weekend, because we got to get to that. Let's talk about the last minute. Obviously, there were a couple things that happened. I mean, the Duke kid, I'm not Duke, UConn kid missed a free throw. So, it was there down 3 with 10 seconds. He misses the first. Well, you can't miss the first. That. You got to have a chance at a rebound on the second. So, you got to make the first. He misses the first, but then he makes the second down 2 with 10 seconds. Now, I'm pretty sure they called the timeout, right? They had a play. They didn't have to cross the half-court line. No. They just need to hold the ball. So, I mean, Boozer kind of fumbled it, gave it back to the other guy, SARS, and he gave it to Caden. So any one of those guys could have just held the basketball till at least 4 seconds or 5. They foul him, right? So obviously Caden had the guys down the court. He thought he had it, and they tip it. And then, I mean, Caravan made a great pass back to Mullins, who just nailed a 35-footer. He hadn't made it 3 all game, 0 for 4. Makes the one, So do you think it was just freshmen being freshmen? Why did they not hold the dang ball?
That's literally called getting excited before you finish the job. Because another thing that they could have did that a lot of people don't think about, he could have threw the ball in the air.
That's right.
He could have just threw the ball in the air. Because when the ball got tipped, it was like 2 seconds. You throw the ball in the air, you don't even have to worry about, or just hold it. I would have held it like I was a running back and just held the ball because they have to foul you. The dude missed the free throw. They're going to have to foul you now. Right, and you go by 4, make the free throws. Don't be scared. I don't know. Another thing, they could be scared of free throws as well. Now that can come into a factor because you got to go down and sink to put the game away.
You do.
Who wants that pressure? Because I promise you, in the NBA, the best player would have had the ball in their hand and just held it. Just because, like, I'm gonna go sink these and we going home. Because at the end of the day, that's what you do. But it might come down to freshmen just being freshmen. But I think a little bit more. I ain't gonna lie to you. I did not like the fact that they didn't talk about this. I feel like, was this not talked about in the huddle? Because to me,
just get the ball to Cam Boozer and have him hold the ball like this until they foul.
Hold the ball. They're going to foul you. They're going to foul you. They're going to foul you. And I think they had possession arrow too, if my memory served me correctly. So even if they tie up, you get the ball back.
Get the ball. Con, man, what was your take on that?
You know, I'm going to give you a different take. You know who I blame?
Uh-oh.
I don't blame the head coach.
Okay.
I don't blame Boozer.
Okay.
You know what I blame? The assistant coaches. Because let me tell you why. The assistant coaches are supposed to know about timeouts, ball possession, every damn thing. During that timeout that you said that they called, the coach is going berserk. You need the assistant coaches need to tell you, hey, this is what you need to do. I'll bet you that the coach did not tell Boozer to do that. I think I put blame on the assistant coaches. I tell you what, that's their job. Coach, you know how many fouls your team got? How many fouls the other team got? Ball possession, time. That's why you're there.
Right.
And I believe, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I apologize. I believe that, especially during that, they had a timeout. You had time to think about it. Like you said, whoever hold the damn ball, they're gonna foul you. I understand it. I don't think they said that. I think, like Kenny said, they probably had a play call. They whatever, and again, that's what the coach. I bet that's what the coach designed. Assistant coach, okay, that's cool. But whoever gets it, hold the damn ball.
Right.
I didn't think that was said. I think they were going to do a play, just ran a play through, and
to get a dunk to end the game on a
trying to get a dunk, try to get pretty. That's too pretty, man.
Right.
In this game,
no, you hold it.
I mean, they've been better off throwing the ball out of bounds.
Thank you.
Set the defense. What I mean?
The assistant coaches that's what
I mean. Look,
coaches on the sidelines. You mean tell me not one of them that?
Right. I mean, you kind of still made the play, and Mullins hit the shot of his life.
Yeah.
35, and that was a no doubter. That thing went.
Oh yeah, when it left,
it was like.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a freshman. He's a freshman.
Yeah. And he went 1 for 5 prior to that, right? Didn't he only hit one?
Yeah, he was 0 for 4. Yeah, it was 1 for 5 in the game. 0 for 4. Yeah. But he had the stones, and that's his range. So, well, anyway, they advance. Duke goes home again. Another podcast we can talk about why Duke blows these leads in the Elite Eight every year. Let's talk about this weekend. So I'll first go over, not that you guys are interested in this per se, but the odds to win the championship now. There's only 4 teams. Michigan is the favorite right now, plus 150. Arizona plus 175. Illinois is plus 400. You can't bet on it in Illinois. UConn is plus 650, where I saw it. I've seen it elsewhere lower than that. So it depends on where you get it. So obviously it's showing that the second game is the championship, so to speak. But we still got another game to figure out first, and that's their opponent. So we've got Illinois playing UConn. They're the earlier game. It's 6:09 Eastern time on Saturday. They're playing in Indianapolis, not too far from here. Illinois is a short favorite, 1.5 points. The total is 139.5. Look, on paper, Illinois is a better team. We've seen this all year. Ken Palm, you believe in that stuff? Ken Palm, they're the 5th best team all year. They're there. That's why they're favored. But UConn has that UConn. And I said this on the pre-show. UConn has gone to the Final Four like 7 times or something since 99, and they've won every time in the title except for once in 2009. When they get to the Final Four, they usually win. So, plus you don't have a Big Ten team that's won since 2000. So let's talk about it. We'll start with comment. Who you got? The Oracle. you're wearing the Illinois orange. I'm not sure if that's indicative. You like Illinois or you like UConn in this game?
Well, let me back to, if you guys let me give me a minute. One of my best friends in the world is Dave Lato. Y'all know if you guys are familiar with him.
Yeah, sure. He's coaching the ball.
And I had the pleasure of when the UConn won with Khalid Al-Amina. That was the year they won with ripping them. That's the year he won, and then he ended up going to DePaul. But anyway, so you would think I'd be a UConn fan, but for some reason I just am not. I'm sorry. Men always, I don't know why. Maybe because they fight, maybe because I don't know. Anyway, so getting back to that, UConn, they got lucky. They should not have won that game. And I think Comer's going to be and Illinois is the better team on paper. So I had neither one. I had St. John's. So this game really don't mean much to me, but I hope it's a good game. I think it will. So to answer your question, I think UConn has experience, and they got the coach, man. You know what I mean?
They win the coaching matchup, I think, for sure.
That's where, you know what? You put me to a con, you put me against a wall, I'm going to go with coaching. I'm going to go with UConn. And I think, what's good? The pressure that kid Mullen hitting that shot is going to make him really confident in this game. And don't be surprised if he goes off.
Well, he's going back home. He's from Indy, or he's from Indiana anyway. That's where
exactly. Watch out. Just trying to say, I'm going with UConn.
Okay. Cassanova, I know you're going with UConn. I already know. I can tell. He's got that smile on his face. He wants Danny Hurley to get Jance around again.
Listen. Y'all know me too well.
Yes.
I'm going with UConn. Of course I would go with UConn. I've been talking about UConn since the beginning of the show. I remember I said UConn, man, early on. I was believing in them. Then they didn't make me believe again once they lost to Marquette. And then I got in the tournament. I said, oh, I believe. And then they got against Duke and they were down 15. I said, oh, no belief. And then when he hit the shot, I believe again. And I'm back believing. Okay. Dan Hurley will find a way to motivate these guys to beat Illinois, man. They got, like you said, they got the experience factor. They got and they got the guard play. So, hey, all three check out for me. That checks out to a UConn win. Shout out to Illinois. Y'all had an amazing season, but it's over here. This is the end of the road. UConn will take it.
And watch out for Caravan. Watch out for him. Watch out for him.
Yes. All right. I get it, guys. I just look. First of all, I hate Danny Hurley because I always say that first because it always colors my thought. I always love UConn before Danny Hurley, but I don't know, man. I think the guards are better for Illinois. Why are we saying the UConn's guards are better? I mean, they got pretty good guards in Illinois, so it's coaching, and the bigs are way better. So now we didn't talk about this in either of the games. Taurus Reed is having the tournament of his life. The guy is having a great tournament for the center for UConn.
Yeah.
He's key to this game because I tell you, if he cannot be on the floor for this team, because they have bigs. Illinois is big. They are big dudes.
Yes, they are.
If he gets in foul trouble in any way, UConn will lose by 15 points in this game. But if he stays on the floor, it's going to be a one-possession game. I do understand your position. UConn will probably win a close game if it's a one-possession game, just like we just saw. But I got to go with Illinois, man. I just think they're a better basketball team. I'm going to stick with what I believe is a better basketball team because UConn, I don't think they got lucky, but they definitely got a favorable situation in both games, both Michigan State and Duke. But I'm not going to be surprised if UConn wins, but there is no way I'm going to pick them on this podcast. I'll get picketed out of my house right now. So Illinois wins this game.
Y'all going with Illinois. You're going to bet on Illinois.
I'm going on Illinois. Well, I can't bet in this state, but yes, I'm going with Illinois.
We know who you're with.
Orange shirt. You guys send me your orange shirt down. I do think they're a better basketball team. Now, look, they don't play as good a defense as even Duke or Sparty, so I think this game is going to be a little more high-paced than this 139.5. So, I don't know. Illinois. Now, if UConn does win the game, man, I'm going to be sweating. We'll talk about the matchups on the other side because if UConn's in the title game, they got to UConn it up and then win it again because they don't lose in the title games. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let's go to the second game, which I still think is the default championship game. You've got Michigan against Arizona. There's a lot of pros on that court, as you talked about, Kent, Conman. Michigan, actually, Arizona opened the favorite, flipped back to Michigan, short 1.5-point favorite for Michigan. Higher total, 157.5. This will be around, we'll call it 9 o'clock Eastern time. So we've talked about these teams all season. They're great basketball teams. So, Kenny, how do you differentiate between these two teams, and who do you think is going to win this game?
The way to differentiate between the two teams is one is bigs, one is guards. And you're watching Michigan right now. 23 is going. Oh my, Lynch. What's his name? Lindenberg.
Lindenberg. Yeah. He's good.
He is going nuts. I'm watching them play, and I'm like, oh, this is the X factor in this game. Yeah, because to me, if he can neutralize what's on the other side from a guard perspective on Arizona, that makes Michigan 10 times better. Because one thing about them, I think they'll control the boards. I do. I think they can control the boards. And I think it's a tough game to pick, though. Like if I'm picking it, just because, man, I'm not going to lie, Arizona's like 5 deep at guard, man.
They're great.
Any one of them can go for 20, and the rest going to get 14 to 15. And then now you got to, I don't know. I mean, then you got to worry about Pete down low, getting 15 and 12 or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Kribas, yeah, he's big.
If I'm picking,
you need a minute to pick it still, or are you still gonna?
I'm Arizona. Don't ask why. Just Arizona. Yeah.
Well, they're a good basketball team. So, Oracle, what are you seeing in your future, your crystal ball?
Yeah, well, it's a little foggy right now. My ball's a little foggy right now. But, where I'm going to go with this, Michigan and Arizona, they're going back and forth, number 1, number 2, all year long. At the beginning of the year, I had Michigan going all the way, because I really didn't get a chance to see Arizona play that much. But I got to see Michigan play, how big they are. And then, you know what? I tell you what almost made me change my mind, I don't know if you guys saw the backstory on Lindenberg, whatever his name is. What a great backstory he has. And, my heart kind of felt like, yeah, man, what a great story. He could have been a first-round pick, came back. He did it the right way. I love everything that he stands for and the way he plays. And he's been killing it. But I'm going to go with this. The Oracle says Arizona because I picked them when I did the ESPN tournament bracket. I was throwing stuff at the wall, the window. But anyway, I picked Arizona just for the fact. See, Ken and I picked them. Those guys, they're deep. Arizona's 4 or 5 pros. I'm going to go with Arizona. I got to go with Arizona. Hey, and also, I think they're well coached too. The coach, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. So I'm going with Arizona. I'm sticking with it. If I'm wrong, the Oracle, my crystal ball is foggy.
Well, hey, I'm going to say a couple things, and I'll tell you who I'm picking. But Michigan, this is what I said. I wrote on wegspool.com. You guys read the article. It's up there, a preview. Michigan has and it's not crazy to say, but they have a higher ceiling because they can shoot the ball better than Arizona. Arizona doesn't shoot threes. They shoot 20% of their shots from 3, which is like the lowest of any 1 seed ever or something like that. So Arizona has to get their points in the paint. They got to get their points at the foul line. They'll make a couple threes, but they're not going to shoot. Michigan's going to shoot 25 threes, 30 threes. You know what I mean? So correct. Michigan, if they are able to hit those shots, they have a chance to take this out, and Arizona's got to catch them. But I'm gonna stick with. I'm telling you, I'm sticking with my principles. Arizona, I've seen them play enough. They think they're the better team, man. I just seen this. Michigan, the guards are better. The bigs are really good for Michigan. Like what's his name, Mark, can step out and everything. But these dudes, Kribas is a man. That dude's strong. And Cole is young, but he's strong. They'll bring a Walker in. So they've got length, but they don't have as much girth as the Arizona dudes. And those guards, I'm just Cadeau, like he better show me something. Those 3 guards from Michigan are okay. And I think they can put that Karchenko guy, who's like their 3-man kind of, I call him a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
I think they could put him on Yaxel to at least keep him in the 20 range, not the 30 range, right?
Right.
And so I think Arizona's going to win the basketball game. I'm sad we're all agreeing, but I think that that's what's going to happen. And look, if Michigan wins, not surprised at all. They got the feeling, but Arizona's better. It's just Tommy Lloyd, 1 possession game. May's been in the Final Four. Lloyd is not. He did make a nice adjustment in the second half of the last game, so that gives me a little hope. But Lloyd in the big game, I'm a little worried about it. But I think Arizona's going to win the game.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah, man. I'm ready to flip my pick, but I can't do it.
Of course, you got to. So okay, so we have.
Believe me.
So if we have Arizona against UConn, because that's what you guys picked. First of all, Arizona, no West Coast team has won the title since 1997 when Arizona won it. There hasn't been a win on the West Coast since 97, which is crazy. There also hasn't been, in your scenario, you don't have a Big Ten team. You got the 2 Big Ten teams bowing out. So you also haven't had a Big Ten team since 2000, just so you know. But Arizona, UConn, I'm estimating that at like a 3.5 point game, maybe 2.5 points, depends on they play, lower total. Who would you get in that situation, Con Man? You like Arizona to take down UConn? Well, you said UConn still would win the game. So Arizona over UConn then?
You know what? I'm going to make a comment. That's like going and fighting Muhammad Ali, right? I know it's bouncing, but you go through that and you go through hell. That's like, I'll give you an example. Muhammad Ali, when he fought George Foreman, everyone thought he was going to get whooped. He ended up coming through, and then after that, he fights a guy like Chuck Wetney or Jerry Quadden. What I mean by that is, if Arizona gets by Michigan, like you said, that is the championship game. They get by that, UConn's going to be a breeze. Not a breeze, but that's going to be a lot easier than that. But if they get by Michigan, best believe Arizona's going on the way.
Okay. Stick with it. I like it. Stick with it. I know what Kenny's going to say, but come on, Cassanova.
We might be going at it. Me and Ken might be going at it.
Oh, man. So listen. Guard play. But there's a caveat.
Go ahead.
Coaching.
Damn. He has his pulse on his team right now, man. He just has the pulse of his team. Like y'all said, they weren't supposed to be here. So now guess what? You know what he preaching to them? We're not supposed to be here, but we're here. Let's do the. You already know how he's finna get this team riled up. Let them be Illinois and get through that, and they get to go to the national championship game with all that experience that is leaning on their side, and Arizona don't have a soul been there since 97. I'm telling you, in those type of games, a lot of times that comes down to adjustments and making those mid-game adjustments, not halftime. It's mid-game. It's 4 minutes.
Possession by possession.
Yes. And who's better at clock management, like you said, Con Man and Oracle, at that than Dan Hurley? Because what he did was he took that Duke game by 4-minute segments. You know they get a timeout after every 4. Win the next 4. Win the next 4. Then you win the next 4. And that's how you get back in the game. I think he's going to do that with Arizona because you have to. They're too good to try to look at this in a broad perspective of a game. You can't look at it like that. You have to look at it from a 4-minute segment. Win the next 4 minutes. That's going to be what he preaches. And I'm picking UConn. I'm doing it.
He's doing it. The Con Man, you're not picking. I'm picking, first of all, Illinois is going to beat UConn anyway. I already told you. You don't have to worry about UConn. But one thing that I will say, and it's not that you have to live by the metrics like I do, and thank you, Marcus. And it's like, UConn will be the first team since their last team, which was with what's his name, Shabazz Napier, when they are outside of the top 20 in offensive and defensive efficiency in Ken Palm. They're 27 right now. They're not inside the top 20.
That's right.
Like the last team to do it was Shabazz Napier's team. So it's very hard to do. You usually have to have a coach that's going to the Sweet 16, offense and defense in the top 20 in Ken Palm. And then I think there's something about turnovers. There's like 4 or 5 metrics. The other 3 teams are all inside the top 20 in both metrics. And obviously Underwood has been to the Sweet 16 as the other 2 guys. So I'm just going against you. So, but I hear you. I understand. In that big game, again, if the whole thing is like you said, Kenny, can UConn, let's say they get there, can they get the game to a 4-minute game?
Yes.
Then they'll probably win it. But I don't know if they can. Like, you think that after Duke blew a 15-point lead that Arizona's going to let their foot off the gas pedal? They are not going to do that. If they're up by 12 points, they're going to keep going and going. And I think that their depth can wear down UConn. And that's the same. If Michigan wins, I think they're going to wear down. They're going to wear down them too. I don't think, and we didn't talk about Illinois. You guys don't want to talk, but Illinois, of course, would be the underdog there. I think they have a better chance of getting Michigan's because they've played them before.
Yeah.
And Arizona, I don't think they did. So I would pick Arizona in both scenarios against Illinois and UConn.
Yeah.
I'd probably pick Michigan over Illinois, regrettably, for my state, if Michigan gets there. And I
if
think
Michigan
UConn,
makes
I don't know.
it, I would switch too. If Michigan makes it, I wouldn't pick Michigan. I mean, UConn to beat Michigan. I don't like that matchup for them, but I like the matchup with Arizona. I do personally, just from a perspective of I feel like with Arizona, there's one spot where I seen they were vulnerable at, and that is a guy who can go get a bucket. I watched that against Purdue. When 3 was in there and he was going to go get buckets, they struggled with that in the pick and roll. That pick and roll, they couldn't figure that thing out for a while there.
Defensively, yeah.
Yeah, defensively, they couldn't figure it out. So there is a crack in the system, even though Arizona probably has and Michigan have been the best 2 teams all year. Of course, Duke too, but I'm just talking about them too. So, sure. But if Michigan makes it, I would pick Michigan to beat UConn. But
I have one thing to say. Wegs, you brought up Shabazz. You know, he's a good friend of mine. He played out here in the tournament a couple years ago. He only played about 5 minutes. I hurt his hamstring, but then he went back overseas. But no, shout out to him because he is now on the bench with the Miami Heat. So shout out to Shabazz. Okay, now part 2. Hurley. I'm gonna tell you right now. I watched his interview with Pat McAfee. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it. And my man got problems. What I mean by that, he lives and dies by every damn second. And he tells his players every possession is like live or die. I mean, he's like that. So if they lose, I'm gonna tell you, watch out, call the hotline. He's gonna be on suicide watch. I'm just letting you know right now, he's going to be on suicide watch. He's nuts, but that's what makes him great. You know what I mean? But anyway, so, but again, I do not think UConn, well, they got to get by Illinois. I would hope that Illinois beats them, but if they don't, they're not getting by Arizona. That's a fact.
Okay. But you also like Michigan over UConn? Man, you like Michigan over UConn as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got mad at me. I'm definitely wrong with. I don't. Michigan side will definitely hamper UConn's ability to go in the paint. I would definitely go with Michigan over UConn.
It's Reed. The problem is Reed, who's really good.
Yeah.
But unless Reed's gonna get to another level where he's gonna dominate bigs that are like Cam Boozer. Well, I guess he had Gunga on him in most of that game, but I just believe that Krivas is strong. They can always put Koa on him. They've got you got Mara. I mean, that's a lot of length for him to go against. And Illinois got those lengthy dudes from Serbia or whatever. Those dudes he's gonna have to shoot over him. He's not gonna be able to dominate them. But if he has the tournament of like the Final Four of his life, like we've seen the last 2 rounds, then maybe UConn can do it. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think that the depth of UConn, which is to me a concern, I don't think they can beat these deep teams that have the I just don't think they can do it.
And I agree with you. And the fact is, I gotta give props to Hurley and UConn. But they've been 3 in the last 4 years. I mean, they've been phenomenal. And it's so hard to get back, especially when you got all these one and done players. For him to establish the structure and to do what they're doing, I got to give him props for that. But again, it's so damn difficult to keep doing it time and time again. This is not UConn's year. I'm letting you know. And then I give them credit because they got smacked by St. John's in Madison Square Garden. And to come back and do what they're doing, I got to give them props. But it's over. It's over. So,
all right. Well, before we sign off, remind everybody where we can find you. Comment, you go first. Where can we find you, sir? I'll put the banner.
Well, what? Saturday night, you can find me right here on the PCN network with my man Kenny and Marcus talking all NBA hoops. That's a great show, by the way. And you can also check me out on Sports Wave Network, Sports Corner with the Con Man, Friday night, 6 p.m. live.
All right. Kenny Cassanova, where can't we find you? We got you every night of the week, baby. We got him. He's giving love advice. He's giving
man.
Go ahead, lay it all out. Lay it all out.
Well, here we go.
You can catch me everywhere, man. Definitely on PCSN Network. I'm on from Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I'm on every show, man. I'm everywhere. Wherever I'm needed right now. Plus, I got my own show. Got the Love Podcast. So if you need any love advice, hop over to my channel, man, for sure. I'm glad that we're here because I'm actually debuting a new short. It's not a podcast, but it's a short thing. It's called The Cleanup, where I'll be discussing breaking news, so sports news, and I'll be like, we got to clean this up. And so I got a new show that I'm debuting. Further details be there soon, okay? So I'm everywhere, man. My brain is running.
The man knows how to tease the public. You're teasing the public. Just teasing it out.
Got to.
All right. Well, follow me at Wegs on X on Instagram. I'm going to do Side Action Podcast. We're going to tape tomorrow, not today. We'll give you the gambling side of all this Final Four stuff. Next week, the Masters. Obviously, follow me on the Lockdown Coverage Podcast on Tuesdays. Thanks for joining us this week, Kenny. And right here, Primetime College Hoops, which we will do the recap next week and see if the crystal ball was clearer than we thought it was going to be for the Final Four and the championship.
I hope y'all tune in next week because it's going to be off the chain.
All right, everybody. Enjoy the games. Take care.
All right, see y'all.
Take good care, guys.
Yeah, hey, drop.
Prime Coverage Sports Network. Real coverage, real conversation.